But first, a pair of stories in Baltimore and the serious problems residents there face with some civic institutions. Schools in Maryland's biggest city close occasionally due to winter weather. But the problems in Baltimore public schools this season have highlighted much bigger questions. Outrage erupted last month after students found themselves in frigid classrooms when heating systems failed in at least 60 schools. It has opened up a larger debate about funding and fixing them. John Yang has both of our reports tonight, beginning with our weekly segment, Making the Grade.
We got to protest and we got to stand up for our kids as parents.
In the jam-packed cafeteria of an East Baltimore high school, the head of the city's school system faced frustrated parents.
What happened to the maintenance keeping that school up? I agree with you, and you should be angry.
What sparked this heated outpouring? Images that went viral on social media in early January of children bundled in coats, hats, and scarves in aging classrooms, barely warmer than the frigid temperatures outside. More than a third of the city's 171 public schools, the oldest in the state, reported a lack of heat. A handful closed for repairs. Boilers and pipes froze and burst, flooding classrooms, collapsing ceiling tiles, and ruining newly upgraded equipment. While the problems were brought on by a brief cold snap, they underscored long-standing funding issues. Parents and teachers demanded answers, as did students.
Everybody wants to succeed, and it's hard for students or it's hard for teachers to help their students succeed if it's cold, if it's freezing cold.
John Gray is a sophomore at Baltimore City College, a selective admissions college prep high school. He says he had seen heating problems before, but nothing like this.
So let's say I fail a class, I can go to coach class so I can study up. But if I come to school and there's no heat, I can't really go downstairs and cut the heat on. So it makes students feel like powerless.
What does it feel like, to come to a school where the heat is so bad you have to wear your coat in class? There are signs in the bathroom telling you not to drink the water.
Kind of just makes you look back like where's our support, like when are things gonna move or change for us?
What homework is this?
Rosalind Taylor's son, Jaden, is a fifth grader at Leith Walk Elementary Middle School in North Baltimore, one of the schools that closed.
When I went to pick Jaden up from school, I noticed that it was really, really cold in the building. And I was like, why is it so cold in here? And it's like, we didn't have any heat.
What does this make you think of the Baltimore public schools?
I think about transparency of what is happening with the funding that we get for each student. Where's the money going? And where's my taxpayer dollars going?
Baltimore City schools have a $1.3 billion operating budget. Nearly 3/4 of it comes from the state of Maryland. Despite that state aid, city schools still had to bridge a $130 million deficit in the last spending year.
We are here to continue this work.
The school board is still making cuts everywhere, including to maintenance. Between 2013 and 2017, Maryland allocated $12.8 million to Baltimore to deal with aging schools. After the cold snap, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announced he would spend $2.5 million of the state's emergency fund on immediate repairs. He also said he would give Baltimore schools an additional $11 million next year. Hogan said his administration has made school heating and cooling projects a priority. He blames district leadership for maintenance problems.
We simply cannot allow children to be punished year after year because their adult leaders are failing.
We resort to a knee-jerk response of it must be mismanagement.
Sonia Santelises is the CEO of Baltimore City Public Schools.
Baltimore City has more need. You can't look at underfunding for numbers of years and then say for a year or two, we're going to give you 10 million more, and that makes up for the millions upon millions of dollars that the school system didn't get. I actually think that's a bit disingenuous and it's overly simplistic.
She says part of the problem is how the state awards maintenance funding. Districts with cash on hand can pay for repairs and then ask for reimbursement. But Baltimore schools often can't afford to pay for those projects up front.
We're coming with a guess where other counties are coming with a receipt. If I'm going to take responsibility for improving the maintenance of school buildings, the oversight of those school buildings, then quite frankly, others need to take responsibility for making sure the investment and the funds are there.
A 2012 report from the district found 69% of school buildings in very poor condition and estimated it would take $2.5 billion to update them.
But he wanted to show the world that they could be used for good.
Rosemont Elementary Middle is one of the schools in need of repair. The school's 47-year-old roof was scheduled to be replaced in January until the school told parents there was asbestos.
I was frustrated. I was angry. I was betrayed, misled.
Bryant Whitener's 5-year-old daughter Jemiah is a pre-K student at Rosemont.
When these parents in this community or in any community wake up in the morning, the first thing they don't want to have to worry about is it safe for my child to go to school inside of the building.
Whitener and other parents organized a school boycott, keeping their children at home until the district rescheduled the repairs for the summer break.
I'd rather have my kids in an environment where it's a zero risk, not a small risk, not 1%, not a 2%, not a 0.5%.
In 2013, Baltimore school officials launched a 10-year, billion-dollar upgrade to nearly 24 schools, the 21st Century School Buildings Plan.
What you see now is an investment of over $1 billion because we knew we needed new schools.
Fort Worthington Elementary Middle School was one of the first to be rebuilt.
So who would like to share out? And I want you to share out what your partner said.
Monique Dubai is the principal.
It feels good to be in a space that has technology for children, that has interactive smart board. We have the flex furniture here in a collaborative space.
As a school principal and as an educator, what does it mean to be in a facility like this?
I think this atmosphere speaks to the investment that we're making in our children and our families and in their future. And so when they have what they need to learn and the basic need is met, the worry is less and you're able to focus more on teaching and learning.
But the plan only calls for between 23 and 28 new buildings out of at least 140 in need of repair, and completion is now set for 2021. For John Gray, the Baltimore City College sophomore, that's too few and too far in the future.
I can't worry about whether or not I know everything on this test to pass if I can't even focus. I'm cold, but we need an answer now, because while we're building those schools, students are still cold. The water is still dirty. We need money to be able to build our 21st century schools, but at the same time, keep up the schools we have now.
Without long-term solutions to decades-old funding problems, Baltimore students are likely to continue to struggle in classrooms that are either too cold or, with spring approaching, too hot for learning. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Yang in Baltimore.